Hey guys, welcome back to In the Alley. My name is Cody. Glad you guys are back for another video. You're going to hear my kid and my wife playing throw the ball downstairs through the vents. So, that'll be fun. But appreciate you guys back for another video. We are going to be talking about a fun little topic, expansion. Now, what I am about to talk about is 100% pure Colombian uncut speculation. No way do I have any inside information. No way does anyone else, unless you are in the inner circles of the Indoor Football League, do you have any inside information. I don't want to hear it. This is just a fun little thing to break up the monotony, to kind of get into it, all of that stuff. You've seen the turmoil and everything that has happened in the other big leagues. I really only count 3. You can talk about the AAL, you can talk about the AIF, you can do all of that stuff. I pay no attention to it. I don't pay any attention to the other 2 that we're going to talk about. I will name names. I'm not going to sit there and, oh, this is another league. No, we're not going to do that. I know the Indoor Football League does. If you watch inside the IFL, Todd Tryon says, oh, Jacksonville came from another league. We all know, but I know he's just trying not to give any recognition. Perfectly fine. I'm not associated with the Indoor Football League, so I will give recognition where it is due. So, with that being said, I'm not going to put timestamps here. The reason why is I want you guys to watch the video. Simple as that. I don't know how long this is going to be. It could be an hour, it could be 30 minutes, it could be 10. I have no idea. What I want to do first, though, is I want to go and give a brief history of the expansion of the Indoor Football League, and then we will talk about potential candidates, teams that have already been announced, teams that could be coming back on hiatus, and maybe, again, just some future speculation and things along those lines. None of this is to be taken seriously. It's just a fun little thing, get some discussion going. Who do you want to see come back? Things along those lines. So, without further ado, let's get into some brief history of the expansion of the Indoor Football League, and we will move on. All right, so I'm going to start off on a year that I deem the new age of the Indoor Football League. Now, we know if you've been around and watched the Indoor Football League, it has been around since 2009. However, I'm going to fast forward that almost a decade, and we're going to start in 2018. This is when the league was probably at its lowest point, and you see here 6 teams. And I reference this quite a bit. This is right after Sioux Falls announced that they were going to stay in the Indoor Football League after there was some back and forth, potential litigation, stuff like that, that Sioux Falls and Wichita Falls at the time were going to join Champions Indoor Football. There was a whole bunch of turmoil going around if this league would survive. You see where we are today. So I'm not going to necessarily touch on a whole bunch of stuff here, just to kind of give you a timeline of everything that's gone on. So 2018, we had 6 teams: Arizona, Cedar Rapids, Green Bay, Iowa, Nebraska, and Sioux Falls. Simple as that. Played the season. You can look on a map. You can see all of these 5 teams are centraled in the Midwest, Great Plains region, and you have Arizona alone by themselves. We fast forward to 2019, and we've added 4 teams. You've added 2 teams from Champions Indoor Football, the Bismarck Bucks and the Quad City Steamwheelers, and you have expansion teams in the San Diego Strike Force and the Tucson Sugar Skulls. So 2 teams to help out Arizona on that island. And if I'm not mistaken, at this time, San Diego and Cedar Rapids were both owned by Roy Choi. I believe Roy Choi still owns San Diego to this day. Cedar Rapids changed their name to the River Kings, and I believe he owned both of those teams at the time. So Cedar Rapids, Bismarck, Quad City, I know they changed their name, but regardless, you start seeing that, yes, it's still highly concentrated in that Great Plains, northern Midwest, Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota, over to Wisconsin, stuff like that in that area. And then now you have 3 teams in the desert. Now, Let's fast forward to 2020, and here it gets wacky. It pops up, and we add 4 more teams to the league. You only play 2 games. World shuts down, sports shut down, everything shuts down. We all know. COVID. Added to the league, though, we have the Duke City Gladiators, the 3rd team from Champions Indoor Football, and the Frisco Fighters, Oakland Panthers, and the Spokane Shock. Now, one thing here with the Spokane Shock is I put expansion. Their rights got bought previously of the Spokane Empire. I'm not sure if it's necessarily technically a hiatus or if it is just expansion. So I put it down as expansion, splitting hairs, don't really care. But you see right here the inner workings, adding Oakland, adding Duke City, and even Spokane and Frisco. You've added more teams to that western side of the continent. Unfortunately, we do have to say goodbye to my dearly beloved. The Nebraska Danger went up for sale, and Charlie Bosselman couldn't find a person to buy them. So I believe the headquarters at this time was still in Grand Island, Nebraska. It's now, I believe, in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, since I think Tryon lives there still. So regardless, it's a little side note. But you start seeing the inner workings here. 2020, no teams play. We've added 4 teams. So let's move on to 2021, and we bring it up here. If my computer will load. Give me a second. It's popped up right here. You guys can see it. It's taking me forever. Okay. Where are we? 2021. There we are. Internet, right? 2021. This is where we see the first major gaffe of the Indoor Football League. You have 4 teams that go on hiatus. Let's talk about them. I'll pick a different font or a different color. It's hard to read. Cedar Rapids, Quad City, San Diego, and Oakland all go on hiatus for 2021. I don't think Illinois or California were allowing fans into the stands for the games, and Cedar Rapids was just kind of going under at the point. They went on hiatus, maybe to try and find sponsorship and stuff. It's pretty much the last you'll see of them. We had 3 teams: Louisville, Massachusetts, and Northern Arizona. Louisville has accepted a bid to join the NAL at the time, and that bid got pulled, so they joined the IFL. Massachusetts joins from the NAL, and Northern Arizona, another Western-based team, is an expansion franchise for the 3rd Arizona team. By the way, I'm going to be cutting back and forth here. I don't want my videos to go too long while I try and edit, but we'll stop here after 2021 and pick back up. Well, you see here, again, more inner workings of what's going on. You see also Louisville accepted and folded. They only played 5 games. They couldn't pay their bills. Simple as that. They played 5 games. I think they had to suspend a game, and that's when the IFL said, get the hell out of here. So you see what you see here. More teams, more Western-based teams, more Central Plains teams, just like we see today. You start seeing the inner workings. You start seeing where some of these teams are coming from. A lot of expansion, a lot of CIF, a lot of NAL, a lot of teams joining this league. Let's pick up on 2022. So 2022, we have one more expansion team. This one's a doozy. It is the Vegas Nighthawks. Bill Foley, the Vegas Golden Knights, their AHL affiliate, the Henderson Silver Knights, have their own arena, Henderson, Nevada. They buy into the league. So, add on top of that the Frisco Fighters, who I'm not sure in 2022 if they have the Dallas Stars partnership yet. I believe they do, but don't quote me. And now you have 2 teams in here that have hockey ownership backing, along with more deep pockets that come into the league. Folded teams, however, Cedar Rapids, like I said, they just went quietly into the night. Roy Choi at this time, I believe, has Bay Area, who changed their name from Oakland to Bay Area. They play in San Jose. They don't play in Oakland. So Bay Area and the San Diego Strike Force. He still owns them to this day, if I'm not mistaken. So Cedar Rapids just goes the way of the dodo. Spokane, pay your bills. Sam Adams, this sucks because Sam Adams couldn't pay the bills or didn't pay the arena. I'm sure someone out there up in Spokane or in the Pacific Northwest can correct me. All of that stuff. Like I said, I don't really want to go too much into detail here. But they had a schedule and everything set. They had everything planned out, and he couldn't pay the bills. So they had to revise the schedule, do everything along those lines, and pretty much said, all right, you're out. You're done. And I wish they would come back. I'll be brutally honest with you. I miss the Spokane Shock, even from the Arena Football League. The colors are magnificent. The logo is magnificent. They've been a force. That fan base is amazing. We're not here to talk about that. I miss you guys. Anyone in the Pacific Northwest watching this, get a petition or something, man. We need to bring the Shock back. You see it here, though. We go back to conferences. You used to have the Intense and the United conferences. Gone. East and West now. I wish they'd bring them back too. But you start seeing here a lot of expansion. A lot of expansion in the West. Expansion teams. Not teams joining from other leagues. You've got to do this all from scratch. It's a point we will touch on in a second. But we now go on to 2023. 2023, more of the same. You're just adding another team, but you're also losing another team. Not necessarily losing another team, but kind of losing another team. The Tulsa Oilers. And we're talking about last year. That's how quickly we've gone into this. The Tulsa Oilers, added as an expansion franchise, they pretty much take Bismarck's spot. Bismarck goes on hiatus. They have to deal with, I believe, some sort of insurance or workers' comp legislation through the actual state of North Dakota. They have to pass a resolution or a bill through their actual North Dakota government and in order to play. I believe it passes. I'll talk about it in a minute. So Tulsa pretty much just takes it. But there's your third team with a hockey background. The Tulsa Oilers are owned by the ECHL hockey team of the Tulsa Oilers. I wish they would have picked a better name. But you see here a lot of expansion teams. And another thing you notice here, no teams folded. No teams left. No teams got kicked out. Nothing. Yes, we went on hiatus for one, but officially no teams kicked out, which is incredible. That shows stability. So the Tulsa Oilers are here. We now move on to this year. As we all know, added this year, the Jacksonville Sharks and the San Antonio Gunslingers of the National Arena League. This, and you see it down below. We'll touch on it here in a second. But you see those two teams added. That's what we're playing this year. 2024 hiatus, still Bismarck, now Dakota. Their intention is to move to Fargo, and we'll see. Announced 2025 expansion, the Fishers Freight. Fourth team with hockey backing. The Fishers Freight are just north in Fishers, Indiana, just north of Indianapolis. They will be owned by the Indy Fuel of the ECHL, the same league that the Tulsa Oilers are in. And there you go. You have another hockey background, another hockey ownership. It's nice to get some deep pockets. So you see it here, Dakota, and I want to touch on them really quick. Just recently, they've made a post saying that while the game in Fargo between Massachusetts and Sioux Falls was good, they're still looking for more sponsorship. They're still looking for more backing in order to say, hey, we're coming back. Whether you believe what Kathy Trinkler has said on the not newest episode, because I think there's one dropping tonight. I'm doing this on a Wednesday or Tuesday. So it won't be the latest episode, but the second latest episode. She says it pretty much as a foregone conclusion. Dakota's coming back. So this could be the potential lineup. Now, you just move Frisco over to the west. Fishers and Dakota move into the east. You have your 18 teams. Simple as that. We'll see. We're going to get into the speculation part here in a second. But this is where we're at. A lot of expansion in the west. A lot of teams coming over from other leagues. And a lot of stability when you consider that in 2018 there were 6 teams. Only 4 of those teams still remain to this day. And you see what we have currently right here. So, this league is good. This league is on some very stable footing. I am really excited to see where we go from here. So let's talk about it. Let's just get wild with it. Let's go talk about some expansion candidates. All right, so we are going to be talking expansion candidates, and there are certain criteria that I want to meet when it comes to who we want to add. Now, all of this stuff that I'm going to be getting is from the Inside the Sharks podcast that they have done back in February with Todd Tryon. These are his words, his criteria. He is the commissioner. I am just speculating. So don't put anything that I'm saying here into his mouth. That's not the intention. Again, this is just a silly little thing. Oh, and like I said before, I'm not putting timestamps in here. So, Jay, if you were watching this, try your best not to put in timestamps, please. Anyway, I don't know if YouTube will do it, but just want to call you out. Don't do it. I want people to watch the whole thing. So, also, go watch this interview. Go watch this interview with Commissioner Tryon. A lot of good nuggets, even back in February. Things can change. You know, it's May, so who knows what's changed in 3 months. But a lot of great nuggets. Go watch the interview. First thing I want to say is when they welcome him on, Todd Tryon mentions that the Indoor Football League, and you'll see these notes pop up, he has 2 teams on the docket already for 25. We already know that Fishers has been announced. They're already building their arena. They have their own social media teams, things like that. Presumably, Fargo is going to be that second team that's joined. So if Tryon is saying this in February and Trinkler is admitting this on Strictly Business as of last week, I think it's almost a foregone conclusion that Fargo, Dakota Bucks, they're back. Second thing, Tryon mentions that the other teams and other league agreements and having to wait for them not to break the contract. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on with West Texas, the Desert Hawks or Eagles or whatever, in the AFL. I'm not going to touch on it. There's a whole bunch of internet lawyers in the forums and stuff talking about it. Go read their stuff. They're perfect. I'm not going to get into it. I don't care. But there are agreements you make with the leagues. Sometimes I think the average is you have to sign on for 3 years. Not sure. But that's normally what it is. Normally about 3 years you sign on for the league and you have to play for 3 years, and then you either fold or you just keep signing on. So I don't know the inner workings. Just a guy. Tryon mentions that capping the league at 24 teams. I have read on Arena Fan, there's a poster on there who allegedly has insider information named Love Football or Love FB. They said 26. They have recanted that. I guess fat fingers or something. It's going to be 24. They're going to cap the league at 24 teams, and then the value of each team is going to rise. Pretty much what the NFL does. You have 32 teams. Those values go right up. So if someone wants to sell the team, that's the only team that's going to be in the league unless it folds. Value of the team goes up. Finally, divisional alignment can vary. Tryon in the interview mentions 3 divisions of 8. There could be with 24 teams, 2 conferences of 12. You can split it up anyway. 4 divisions of 6, 6 divisions of 4. Who knows? We'll see. It all depends on travel and money, to be honest. And that's where he goes with kind of what we see. And he also has 4 criteria when it comes to where they want to go. Let's go see those 4 criteria, and then we will meet our candidates. All right. It's going to be popping up above my head right here. The 4 criteria that Todd Tryon wants when you accept a team into the Indoor Football League. Number 1, ownership group quality. The Indoor Football League denied 7 teams last year that applied for membership in the league. Don't know who they are. We're not sure. We do know that 2 teams were added. So there were 9 teams that applied to the Indoor Football League last year. 2 got in. It's not a good percentage chance of getting into the league. That means that the ownership quality has to be good. Number 2, the arena and the venue. Can you pay the bills? How does the arena look? Is it capable of playing indoor football? Are you going to be able to have quality indoor football? Do the cameras, broadcast sight lines, all of that stuff? How do you play? How does the arena work? Simple as that. Number 3, geographical location. It needs to fit the Indoor Football League's vision of growth. I believe that is Tryon's actual quote, and needs to, fit their vision of growth. He does not want island teams, i.e. Massachusetts and Jacksonville. He doesn't want teams on an island. He wants teams close, travel partners, lower the travel, lower the cost, lower costs. That's the name of the game. So, I am sorry, Spokane. I don't think you're getting a team. If I was commissioner, I'd give you a team. I'm not. I can always dream. We can always dream. Number 4, operator. Does the person or persons know what they're doing? Now, that ties in with number 1. If you are a quality owner, I think you have to know what you are doing. Otherwise, you can have deep pockets and still have no idea what you're doing, which means good quality ownership, we don't know. So I think 1 and 4 are very closely tied together, clearly. And we also need to have this little caveat here too. Todd Tryon says, adding existing teams means you normally have those 4 things in place already, compared to creating a team from scratch. Now, I am not going to touch on creating teams from scratch. This is how you get into the comments on forums or posts or anything like that say, hey, put a team in Denver, put a team in Salt Lake City, put a team in Butte, Montana, put a team in Yukon, Canada. I'm not going to touch on that. Everyone can put a team anywhere that they want. Quality ownership is quality ownership, and if they show up and they say we want a team from scratch, if there's an ECHL team, AHL team, NHL team, NBA, KHL Russian League, if anyone wants a team with quality ownership, I'm sure they'll show up. They'll create it from scratch. We're going to focus on teams that already exist. Simple as that. Otherwise, we'd be here all day naming teams. Oh, this arena seats 15,000. This arena, blah, blah, blah. We're going to focus on 7 teams. Let's go ahead and do that and see where we're at. Okay. Number 1, the Orlando Predators. Now, this team is a legacy team. This team is a legacy team, and they are just thrown out with a whole bunch of other teams about leaving the Arena Football League, coming over to the Indoor Football League. Simple as that. Little bit of a background. The Orlando Predators, location, Orlando, Florida. Current league, the Arena Football League. Their current arena, the Kia Center, 17,192 for a capacity. And I believe that is for arena indoor football. I believe that is where the Orlando Magic play. So it's a big name. I know Orlando in the past has played on the campus of Central Florida. They might have played in another arena. I'm not sure. I can't remember off the top of my head. They play in the Kia Center for right now. Their owner is John Chaney, and they were formed in 2019 in the National Arena League. They claim no championships from 2019. Now, if you want to say that this is a continuation of the team from the 90s, cool. I'm not necessarily counting that just based on the ownership, but if you want to count them as a legacy of the former Orlando Predators of the previous iterations of the Arena Football League, so be it. In the last 5 years, technically 4 since 2019, they have not had good records. So that is a little bit of a huge question mark to me, is how good is this team going to be? If this team is accepted into the league, I have no doubt in my mind it is an easy travel partner for the Jacksonville Sharks. It bridges a gap to the southeast. It helps build the state of Florida and a little bit of a rivalry. However, what gets me is they have not been a good product. I don't know how well they sell the Kia Center. That is a large capacity arena. And again, I say this with full ignorance of not watching NAL, of not watching AFL. I watched the Orlando Predators when they were in the previous iterations of the Arena Football League, and when you had the war on I-4, it was packed. I hope for more of that, especially if you get into the Indoor Football League. But overall, not that good. So, are they a good candidate? Let's go see if they check the 4 boxes. All right, so box number 1, is ownership. I think the ownership is all right. I'm going to give it a green check mark, mainly just due to the fact that it's kind of a longevity thing. They've been in the NAL. They have made the transition to the AFL. Maybe not the wisest decision, but, the ownership is there. I do, and again, people can have their preconceived notions on what's good ownership versus bad ownership. Lord knows that not every owner in the Indoor Football League is top notch. Call a spade a spade. Some owners are better than others. Simple as that. I do give the ownership here a pass, and this isn't me saying that the ownership's bad. I'm just saying for some people, it might not be up to snuff, but I think it's good. I think it's good enough for the Indoor Football League, and that's what you need, some quality ownership. And look at the arena and the venue. I also give it a plus. We're talking about an NBA arena. Now, that being said, I do think that the capacity actually, dare I say, might be too big. If you look on TV or anything, paying the rent, paying the bills, if they can make it work, they can make it work. Simple as that. However, is it something where they have to move venues later on because they're not selling out as much as they would? I don't know. They've been there for a minute. We'll see. When we talk about geography, another check mark. I think they checked that one off pretty easily. It's a nice little bridge to Jacksonville. Yeah. Not off the top of my head, I can't remember if Orlando was in the league with Massachusetts in the NAL. If they were, cool. If not, well, you get a nice little rivalry there. And then number 4, knowledge. Does the owner know what they're doing? I think so. Like I said, hindsight might be 2020 going to the Arena Football League, so you might put that down as a but I think right now the on-field product is more concerning to me. Coaching, players and stuff, just looking at what they have. I did check the score this past week. They lost 30-14 to West Texas. That's a little concerning. I think the boxes get checked, but it's a little iffy for me personally as Commissioner Cody. I do think they check the boxes. I'll show you at the end who I think will be 2 candidates who I think will be the ones that get in. But as of right now, I think Orlando checks those boxes. Let's move on with candidate number 2. Candidate number 2, Albany Firebirds. Located in Albany, New York. Current league, the Arena Football League. They play an MVP arena, 13,785 for a capacity. No stranger, before we touch on the rest of the stuff, no stranger, MVP arena, I believe was formerly known as the TransUnion Center. I could just look it up, but I don't feel like it. They used to have the Albany Conquest, Albany Empire, and I believe the very first iteration of the Albany Firebirds way back in the 90s and 2000s. So, no stranger are the Albany Firebirds and Albany to arena and indoor football in that area. Formed in 2023 with an asterisk from the AFL. I don't know if you want to consider this a continuation from the Albany Empire. The owner is Mike Quarta with Andy Gwelcher, I believe is how it's pronounced, and Rich Sesnet. Correct me on the pronunciations. They have 3 championships. I am basing this on a continuation from the Albany Empire. Quarta did own the Empire for a little bit, and then there was the Antonio Brown debacle. He sold his shares to Antonio Brown for $1, and you saw what happened. If you didn't see what happened, welcome to the world of indoor and arena football. But yeah, Quarta started up a new team. So like I said, you can say that this is a completely separate team, and I am okay with that. But I like to consider that this might be a little bit of a continuation. Now, this team does harken back to the Arena Football 2.0 days, if you're considering the Empire. Before Quarta owned it, they did play in the Arena Football League. You see their history there with their championships. They've won 3 championships all in a row. They lost in the semifinals in 2018. So, no stranger of a winning pedigree up there, trying to get their stuff back on track. If you believe the rumors, that it was a choice between them joining the Indoor Football League or the Arena Football League, and they chose the Arena Football League for the nets and what have you. Again, I don't know what the answer was. The only people that probably know are Quarta, the owners, and maybe the leagues. Well, I don't know if we'll ever find the answer, but if you believe that, then I think Albany is a little bit closer to the Indoor Football League or joining than some people would realize. So if it's not true, then hey, it's on the internet, so it has to be, right? But again, they joined the Arena Football League. I haven't seen them play. From what I have seen, they look all right. I think they played Orlando in the very first game. Again, I don't really pay attention, so that's my fault. Let's go see if they check the boxes, and we'll move on with another candidate. Man, I sound like I'm from New York. Another candidate. Let's go see if they check these boxes. Sounded like Frank the Tank at the end there. Another losing season. All right. Albany Firebirds. Number 1, ownership. I give it a check. I mean, if Quarta is able to bring this team back into a brand new league, they've got a winning pedigree. I'd like to think that he knows what he's doing, and it's a quality ownership. You know, I don't know what transpired to sell his shares to Antonio Brown or whatever the case could be. If it was just to kind of stick it to him as like, hey, you think you're the sole owner of this team, put your money where your mouth is. Here's my shares for $1. I don't know. But I think he likes to believe that he knows what he's doing, and I think they do have some quality ownership up there. Clearly, like I said, catching the little bits and pieces of the Arena Football League and seeing the photos and stuff online, the arena looks legit. There's a reason why they won championships in the NAL and the Arena Football League before that. So I think ownership is there. Arena and venue, they do get a check mark for this too. It's a good venue. It's a decent venue. Like I said before, it's hosted the Albany Firebirds, the Albany Conquest, formerly the Albany Empire. So they are no stranger. Of course, other Albany things too, River Rats, Albany Devils, minor league hockey, and things along those lines, amongst other things. I think it works fine. 13,000. It's a really nice number. Can fit quite a bit. It's roughly the same capacity that Jacksonville has. So I think it would work well. Geography. It bridges the gap before Massachusetts. You do get a little bit of a rivalry with Jacksonville. Excuse me. You do get a little bit of a rivalry with Jacksonville as the former Empire and things along those lines. And like I said, it's right next to Massachusetts. So you do get a little bit of a travel buddy in that regard, which helps out in the northern area and the northeast. Fishers coming in, a little bit of a travel distance there too for them. So geography works well. Fourth, knowledge. Again, like number 1, I like to believe that Quarta knows what he's doing. Like I said, if you truly believe that this was a decision for him between the IFL or the AFL, he chose the AFL. Might have been a stupid decision. We don't know. But he chose that. If he didn't choose that and he only wanted to go to the AFL, fine. But I like to think that he knows what he's doing. Regardless of what happens with the AFL, if all those, non-league owned teams join forces and form their own separate league or carry on and do whatever, fine. But for me, I think this is another strong candidate for expansion. So we'll move on with candidate number 3, and we just keep chugging along here. All right, candidate number 3, the Nashville Cats. Located in Nashville, Tennessee. Current league, the Arena Football League. They play in Nashville Municipal Auditorium. 9,700 for capacity. Formed just this past year. Nashville Arena Sports LLC are their owners. No championships. They have only played 2 games right now total, and not much really known minus that. I do know, I know the roster's changed, but at the start of the season, or before the start of the season, they did sign quite a few Indoor Football League players like Shaq Currington and Ramon Atkins, and Zay Coven Henderson, and a couple of others as well. So they did get some former indoor football experience. Obviously, Jeff Fisher is the big name, part of the ownership group and the advisory and stuff like that goes along with it. And, not really much else known. You don't really have a history with this team that we can really touch on. You can touch on the Nashville Cats of the past, with Bud Adams being the owner, or, before that when they first joined Arena Football 1.0 and stuff along those lines. But not much known about this iteration. They just had someone, I cannot remember his name, join. It's pretty much the CEO. Deep pockets. That's all I'm going to say. Deep pockets. Really deep pockets. That's pretty good. But yeah, not really much else known, minus the few games that they've played and just kind of what since they've formed as a team to now, is really all you've been able to go off of. So let's go take a look at those 4 criteria. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter segment because not much is known on the team. Let's go check out this 4 criteria and see what we can make of the Nashville Cats. All right, number 1, ownership. I don't know. We got a little shruggy guy there, Mr. Shrugs. We just don't know. Like I said, deep pockets. Who knows? This could be a one-and-done thing for them. Maybe they don't want to deal with any pomp and circumstance after this year and what they dealt with in their previous league. No idea. I like to believe that the ownership is stable, clearly. We'll see. Like I said, that's not good. It's not bad. Just not sure at this point. The arena and the venue, I'm giving it a check mark. I've seen the photos. It looks good. I'll be honest. It looks good. And while Bridgestone might not be the best option for them, I don't know if there's another arena in Nashville that they could go for. So it might be with Municipal Auditorium. I think it could fit the bill. Honestly, almost 10,000. It's really unique. Looking at those photos, it's a roundel style arena, which is cool. You don't really see that in the indoor football league. So I'd actually really like to see how that would be set up for the indoor game instead of the huge nets for the arena style. But I give the arena and the venue pretty good place. Geography, check mark. I think this is going to be the biggest green check mark of them all. And the reason why I say this is because if you believe rumors that the Indoor Football League has wanted to try and plant a stake here for a while, there was a rumor that I remember Love Football on Arena Fan saying years ago, probably 2 years ago, maybe even last year, that San Diego had thought about relocating to Nashville. Clearly, it's true. It's the internet. Everything's true. It's not true. They're still in San Diego, but it gives you that inkling, that idea, that thought that the Indoor Football League might want Nashville. They might want this team. Maybe not this team specifically, but they want this location. The geography works really well, just south of Indianapolis. It bridges the gap to Jacksonville. It even bridges a gap to Tulsa and Frisco and, kind of those southern teams in Texas and Oklahoma. And then, it's close to Quad City, close to Fishers and stuff like that. And it's a closer distance for Massachusetts as well. It kind of checks all of those geography boxes. That's where I think the Indoor Football League is getting it. Like, if we can get this team here, that's a very central point that we can make. Does the owner know what they're doing? I don't know. We don't know. I'd like to think so. They've looked good. The arena looks good. Everything that they've done, the promotion, the social media, everything that they've done has been professional. So I give it a shruggy, but I do see obviously how well that they are doing. It's not a nuance or anything. They're doing it well. They're doing it professionally. We just, again, with very short limited stuff that we have seen, I cannot give it a full green just yet, but it trends that way. I'll be honest. It trends that way. This is a prime candidate. Hint, hint, later in the video for expansion. Let's go check out candidate number 4. We got, 4 more candidates to do? So, candidate number 4, let's get into it. All right, candidate number 4, the Carolina Cobras, located in Greensboro, North Carolina. Current league, the National Arena League. Greensboro Coliseum is their arena. I saw it's 20,000 for a capacity. I don't think it's that big. It could be, but it's a full like complex and stuff like that. So trying to figure out how much the arena capacity was, I just went with 20,000. So whatever Wikipedia says is true. Formed in 2017, owner National Sports Ventures, parentheses Rob Storm. The name is familiar. He's part owner of the Jacksonville Sharks. Can't see it because of the glare from the lights, but if that gives you any indication. Championships won. I believe that was Billy Back's championship. So 2018 in their championship, you look at their last 5 years, really good. Granted, it is the National Arena League, but still, 4 of those 5 years, they either won a championship or lost in the championship. The only other year, 3 and 5, losing in the semifinals. So overall, not bad. Really good. Really, really, really good. This franchise is, dare I say, very stable. I've talked to the head coach before. I've ordered some stuff from the Carolina Cobras, the main mammoth stuff that I wear. Really nice guy. I've heard nothing but nice things about the Carolina Cobras and honestly how professional they are as an organization. Now, are they a fit? I think so. We'll talk about the criteria here in a second. But when you talk about bridging the gap, and we'll talk geography, we talk about bridging the gap, Carolina is on their own little island in the NAL. I don't know what's going on with that league. We'll talk a couple more NAL teams, stuff like that. But for right now, they're just on their own little island when it comes to Idaho, Colorado, Omaha, Sioux City, things along those lines. They are just out there on the East Coast by themselves. I'm sure they would like to have a travel partner as well. So let's go take a look at their criteria and see if they would be a good fit for the Indoor Football League. All right. Number 1, ownership. Yeah, simple as that. I mean, like I said, they're part owner with Jacksonville. He co-owns both teams. You see that easily here in this league with Roy Choi. I know Kevin Guy doesn't technically own the Tucson Sugar Skulls, but I mean, well, there's a reason why Traveris Farrell is over in Arizona and instead of Tucson right now. That's a topic for another day. Ownership, I think, works fine. I think the ownership is fine. The arena and the venue, I've never seen it. I'll be brutally honest with you. I have not watched a game for Carolina at home or anything like that. I'm assuming the venue's fine. I do. If it's the same venue where they play the ACC tournament, I think it's okay. But if it's worked for Carolina for the last couple of years, I don't see why it can't work in the IFL. I don't really know much else to say on that. It's, again, I'm blissfully ignorant here, just using subjectiveness and cool or not cool. Not trying to go too deep in the weeds with this. Number 3, geography, bridges the gap. I don't think Carolina was in the league. They might have been in their first year no, they weren't, because they joined in 2017 or 2018, and that's when Massachusetts was already gone. So those two teams have never played each other, I don't think. But Carolina, Jacksonville have that rivalry. It's a little bit of travel for Fishers, can help them out. Massachusetts has a team further south that they don't have to go all the way to San Diego or Arizona if they don't want to. Things along those lines. So it does bridge a gap. Nice little rivalry with Carolina. And I think it fits well. You get another team on that eastern coast, kind of fill out that southeastern area. And number 4, knowledge. I like to think that Rob Storm knows what he's doing, and his other owners with that team. They've had this team running for, 7 years, 6, 7 years now, 8 years, something along those lines. They've stuck through it thick and thin in the NAL. They have not really jumped ship, and if they want to make the move, I feel like it would be the right time now to do it, considering what's going on with everything else. So I think they're another prime candidate, just like the other 4, and simple as that, So let's go take a look at candidate number 5 and just keep on keeping on. All right, candidate number 5, Sioux City Bandits. Located in Sioux City, Iowa. They play at the Tyson Event Center. 9,500 for a capacity. Current league, the NAL, formed in 2000, ironically with a different league called the Indoor Football League. Their owner is Donald Belson. They claim 3 championships, the most recent being 2015 in Champions Indoor Football, and then 2 in the APFL. This team did play in the current iteration of the Indoor Football League. They only played for a couple of seasons, I believe in 2009 and 2010. So when the 2 leagues merged to create the Indoor Football League, and then they ended up going to the APFL, and then eventually joining Champions Indoor Football. It was called Champions Professional Indoor Football League, which, hey, throw some Scrabble tiles at the wall. But yeah, so this team has been in the Indoor Football League before. Would they be willing to return? I'm not sure. You look at those records that they've had in the last 5 years, it's been pretty good. Couple of mediocre seasons snuck in there, but for the most part, a pretty good resume for the last 5 years. They have 3 championships. Not necessarily as recent, but they're a pretty stable team. There's a reason why they went and joined the NAL. There's a reason why they were kind of helping run the Champions Indoor Football and doing all of that stuff. And there's a lot of talk out there about them throwing their weight around with the other team. We'll talk about here in a second. You already know who it is. And do they want to join? Is the IFL going to accept them? I don't know. Would they be a good fit? Sure. Let's go talk about those criteria, see if it would work, and honestly, find out the rest. All right, so for Sioux City, ownership, plus. I mean, I don't know it. This is a team I literally know nothing about. Only thing I've seen, heard, other people's comments on forums. I have the preconceived notion that them and Omaha just kind of throw their weight around. They have egos, things along those lines. I go into it with an open mind. Other people might not think so. That's perfectly fine. That's just my 2 cents. I know nothing about them. I have no idea, no preconceived notions, whatever. Could there be something I learn along the way that turns sour? Maybe. Is there something that could sway me the other way? Sure. I don't know. But right now, I got to give ownership a plus. They've been around since 2000. They've been around for as long as they have. And I don't know if Donald Belson has been the owner the entire time or whatever the case could be. But clearly to keep this team up and running, they're doing something right. So I got to give ownership a plus. Arena and venue, I also have to give them a plus. I do think that the venue could work. The arena could work. Like I said, they've got natural rivals. I guess we'll do geography here too. I'm going to put a shrug. The reason why I'm putting a shrug, you have natural rivals. Sioux Falls, Iowa, Fargo, even throw Quad City in there, Green Bay as well too. But does this fit the idea that Tryon wants to build the league without island teams? So the reason I'm giving this a shrug is because if you add a team like Sioux City, you are not solving the issue of getting teams further out towards Jacksonville or Massachusetts. You're more concentrating on the central United States. And while it would be a good addition, I don't know if this is something that Tryon would want compared to any of the other teams that we've talked about that could bridge those gaps to the other teams that are in the league and help reduce travel with those owners and things along those lines. So, shruggy for geography. It can work. It's not bad, but I don't think it's necessarily the right move. Knowledge, you got to think like they know what they're doing. They moved to the NAL. They needed to get out of the CIF. The CIF doesn't exist anymore. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. So you like to think that the owners kind of know what they are doing if it was a sinking ship, or if they truly thought that, hey, we can go run the NAL or do whatever. I like to think that they know what they're doing. So I got to give that one a check mark as well. Again, this is going into this blind. I have no preconceived notions, nothing along those lines that other people do. So it's a decent candidate. I don't necessarily know if they fit the other candidates, but a decent candidate nonetheless. We got two more to talk about. We already know this other one. Got a little surprise at the end. Let's go talk about Omaha. All right. Omaha Beef, located in Omaha, Nebraska, Ralston, Nebraska, in the suburbs. Current league, the NAL. Current arena, Liberty First Credit Union Arena. That's a long name. 4,000 for a capacity, so that's a little low on the capacity side. But they've been playing there, I believe, ever since they've been a team. So I think they sell the place out. They do really well. They've been around for a long time. They were formed in 1999. I believe they are one of the few teams that has been around since the 90s continuously, including hiatuses and stuff like that. When you consider, if you count Iowa from 1995, even though they technically relocated as the Dragons of New York, or if you include, Orlando or Arizona, Omaha's right there with them. Owner, Ricky Burtz and Craig Thierry, however you pronounce it. Championships, they have two. They won the championship in Champions Indoor Football last year, and 2 years before that. They lost in the championship game in 2022. They have a very, very good record. This is a team that went undefeated last year, and go Big Red with Tommy Armstrong as the quarterback. They've had a lot of Huskers on the roster throughout the years, so cool. But this team is really good. I think they are a good candidate as well. Location is there. But again, do you see them as part of this league? I guess we need to go figure that out. I guess we'll just go figure that out now. I don't really have anything else to say that's not going to spoil anything else in the next segment. So let's go look at the criteria. All right. First one, ownership, as always. I got to give it a check mark. Ownership clearly knows what they're doing. They just spent the money on an orange turf. Joining a different league, leaving. I guess I forgot to mention it before. They were in the Indoor Football League too, and they ended up leaving not too long or at the same time as Sioux City, or maybe not too long after they did. And yeah, so I think ownership might know what they're doing. I think at that time the Champions Indoor Football or something like that was only paying $75 per player, while the Indoor Football League, I believe at the time, was paying $250 per player. And I don't know if they just couldn't make the money or do whatever. So I think they made a good decision. They're still clearly around for a reason. I have no idea what the NAL pays right now. Like I said, I don't pay attention to it. So I guess get mad and fight me. I don't know. But I think ownership is a check mark. I think they know what they're doing. And that's clearly a check mark for number 4, which we'll touch on when we get there. But I think the ownership does check the box. I do. I think that they are able to obviously be a good team. They're spending the money where they need to. They're winning championships. They have a good coach. They've gone through all the turmoil of different coaches, whether it's been, I believe, Marvin Jones or Rayshawn Kaiser or whoever. All of that stuff. And yeah, you see stuff online of bickering back and forth, all of that stuff. I don't know. I do think they get a check mark though. Number 2, arena and venue. I got to put a shrug. Again, not good, not bad. 4,000 for the capacity. It's a little lean. I know they've played there for most of the time, if not all the time that they've been a team. They just bought new turf and things along those lines. They just bought the rebound nets and stuff like that for the NAL. I don't know if the arena would work. That's my issue. It could work. It's worked in the past. Could it work again? I'm not sure. Do you want an arena with only 4,000 people? If that's what they want, I guess. Is that what the IFL wants? I don't know. So I got to put a shrug. Not good, not bad. We'll see. Geography, number 3. Another shrug. The reason why is same thing with Sioux City. Jesus, I knew I was going to say Sioux Falls at some point. Same thing with Sioux City. Same thing. Just you're putting a team in the central United States. You need to bridge gaps to Jacksonville and Massachusetts. This move doesn't necessarily do that. Simple as that. You need to start building out, and you'd like to cap this at 24 teams. Could Sioux City and Omaha be teams further down the road? Potentially. But as of right now, whether you're considering 2025 or 2026 or whatever, I don't think that these teams are viable as of right now. So geography, shruggy, leans more towards, an X. But yeah, so shruggy, we'll see. Knowledge, check mark, goes with ownership. They kind of know what they're doing, spending the money where they need to, winning championships, things along those lines. So that's where we're at. We have one more team, and I will give you my thoughts. So let's go check out that one cool, awesome mystery team. If you've already scrolled to this point, you spoiled it. Congratulations. You're impatient, and I don't like you. Kidding. I love you. But let's go check out the mystery team. All right, Allied. It's not really much of a mystery team. It's the Columbus Wild Dogs, or really just any team in Columbus. This team, and I didn't put it on the history, like the expansion stuff that we talked about in the very beginning. I didn't put this on there because I wanted to save it for now. This team was an announced expansion team, I believe in 2020 or 2021 or something along those lines. Owned by the Germain family, who either still own Frisco with the help of Dallas, or do they still own the league? I don't know. But Columbus, they were brought in as an expansion team from the Germain family as a means to be an expansion team. They had hired a head coach whose name is escaping me. I apologize. But yeah, nothing. Simple as that. I think this happened in 2020 because of all the COVID restrictions and things along those lines. But yeah, Columbus Wild Dogs, located in Columbus, Ohio, current league, Indoor Football League. They had their name and everything on, like, announced 2024 teams, 2023 teams. When you go to the tab on the Indoor Football website, they got taken off. They got taken off, I believe, this year or last year. So I don't think they're going to be a team. We do like to speculate. Current arena, Nationwide Arena, ? The reason why I say that is I don't know what other arenas there are in Columbus. I believe when you read the post of them announcing that they're joining the Indoor Football League, the Germains said that they were going to play at Nationwide. I don't know if the rent and everything scared them away or whatever the case could be, because I believe minus the Rattlers when they played in the Suns Arena, I don't really think that there's any other team. Well, I take it back. Bay Area plays where the Sharks play. As I say, where there's any other arena where they actually play professional sports. Now, if you add Orlando, would be the Magic. But you're talking about Nationwide Arena where the Blue Jackets play. I'm not sure. But formed in 2020, so I guess I was right there. I guess I could have just read lower. Owner, the Germain family. Championships history, they have none. So we're going to speculate here. Do they finally become a team? That's the question. Let's go take a look at the criteria, see if they do fit, and then we'll see. All right, I'm going to go through these quickly just because it's such an anomaly. Not anomaly, but a mystery. I'm trying to think of a word here, but I can't remember, so whatever. Ownership, shrug. Don't know who's going to own them. I think the Germains have backed out. I think this is dead as a doornail. I'll tell you that much. The arena and venue, no. I don't think that you would be paying the rent and everything like that for a professional arena like Nationwide. It makes you wonder what they're paying for the SAP Center for San Jose out in Bay Area. I don't think it would work. I'll be brutally honest with you. I think it's a shruggy, leaning more towards an X. I don't know if there's any other arenas in Columbus that would work, or if you need to move it somewhere else in Ohio, like Toledo, or farther south like Cincinnati or anything like that. I don't know. But geography, it would work. The geography would work, especially with Fishers coming in. You could have a little bit of a rivalry right there, and it clearly bridges the gap to Massachusetts. So the geography could work. Ownership, knowledge, shrug. We'd probably an X. We don't know. There's no owner. We have no idea. Like I said, I don't know if the Germains still own the Indoor Football League. There was a post that they bought it. Nothing has been said since, really. I don't know if they still own the Frisco Fighters. I'm not really sure. Like I said, I haven't really gone down that rabbit hole in a long time. And I'll be honest, I don't really care to. And it's just not something I care to know. If you guys want to fill me in the comments, cool, but it'll be a nice little thing. So, I don't think this team is going to be a team. Their uniforms were horrible. Their uniforms were trash. If you liked those uniforms where the dogs were barking on the sleeve caps, oh my God. But yeah, I don't think this is going to be a team. I'd rather see the Toledo Bullfrogs, the former AF2 team, so we can get the Toledo Bullfrogs. Those uniforms were great. The name, the Toledo Bullfrogs, is an amazing name. I would love the Toledo Bullfrogs. But I think Columbus is dead. I do. I don't think they're joining anytime soon. If they do, I don't think the Germains are going to own them. If it's a team in Columbus, I don't think it'll be the Wild Dogs. Revive the Destroyers. That's all you need. Just revive the Destroyers. Simple as that. So, that being said, I'm going to give you my two best candidates who I think are going to join either in 2025, that are going to be part of a 4-team expansion, or worst case scenario, they join in 2026. I don't know why my camera's doing that all of a sudden. And we'll go from there. So let's go take a look at that, and we'll wrap this all up. Cool. So I'm going to be down in the bottom corner by Baja, California, and where Alaska is, because Alaska is always down in the Pacific Ocean down here by Mexico. It's so cold down here in Mexico. But hey, I'm down here chilling out with the strike force. So you see the red dots right there. We can bring those up. That's going to be Fargo and Fishers. Those two teams clearly, I believe, are going to be in here. So looking at the map, a lot of clear separation of who you see in the east and the west. And my two teams that I think, if you told me right now, gun to head, who do you think are joining the IFL in either 25 or 26? I'm going to start off with the Nashville Cats. I think when you look at where they are on that map with that geography, it's a nice little bridge to Tulsa and Frisco. It's a nice bridge to Jacksonville. Fishers is right there, along with Quad City in Iowa, and it's a less travel for Massachusetts. So I think it's a nice little central point. Like I said earlier, I think Nashville is going to be one of those teams that might jump ship. If they don't, well, I'm no worse when I do my bets. So team number 2, I have the Carolina Cobras. The reason why I have Carolina is because it's bridging another gap. If you add Nashville, Carolina, and Frisco as those 3 in that little triangle area right there, that's very good travel, not just for those 3 teams between each other, but obviously Jacksonville, Tulsa, Frisco, and some of those teams in the south like San Antonio. You look at Massachusetts, less travel. They get to go south to Carolina. Obviously, Fishers is less travel for them too. Simple as that. It's not to say that Massachusetts can't travel. They just flew to Fargo a couple weeks ago to go play Sioux Falls. So it's not like, we can't play anymore. But I think that helps out with their travel and reduces their costs and things along those lines. So if you told me that, those would be those two teams, that's fine. Any combination, though, of those two, or Orlando or Albany, I honestly think would work as well. So if you told me Nashville's not getting in, but Albany is with Carolina, fine. If you're telling me Carolina doesn't want to join, but Orlando does, fine. Or if you're telling me it's Carolina, Orlando and Albany, any combination, I think it works. I don't think it works for Columbus. I mean, the location does, but you got to find all the other factors too. I don't think it works for Columbus as of right now, and Sioux City and Omaha. It works geography-wise, but it also doesn't. For the reasons I've stated earlier, I think those are our two best options right now. Nashville and Carolina. If you believe the rumor from Love Football on the arena fan pages, Carolina's going to apply next year. We'll see. I don't like posting that stuff out there. I like just keeping it to myself because most of the time it's probably never going to be true. But if that is true, there's reason to believe that it is. There might be some smoke to that fire. But I'm just a guy on the internet making indoor football videos for 50, 60 people to watch at a time. So what do I say? What do I know? Not much. I've never claimed to be an expert. But those are my guesses. That's what they are. That's what they will always be. If I get them right, awesome. If I don't, awesome. Those are my guesses. I think Nashville and Carolina join. You bridge that southeast gap. You have 20 teams, and you can start building that northeast area or maybe that mid-Atlantic region. Maybe a Baltimore, maybe maybe Atlanta. If you want to try your hand down at like New Orleans, something like that, or even up towards Pittsburgh, it'd be nice. The Pittsburgh Power, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm done speculating on that stuff. That's where I'm at. Those are my candidates. That's what I know, don't know, speculate, everything in between. One thing I do want to touch on first, before I get out of here, I want to show what I believe would be the 2025 conferences and things like that but if Carolina and Nashville join. So let's go take a look at that. We'll get out of here. All right, so it's going to pop up here and probably take up half my face, so I'm trying to lean to this side as much as I can. So there we have it. Simple as that. I hate when my camera does that, but there we have it. Simple as that. You move Tulsa over, you move Frisco over into the west, and you clearly see, if you want to reverse the video and go back to that map, you clearly see that divide from east and west, and it works for any of the teams. Nashville, Orlando, Carolina, Albany, any of those teams. It could even work for Omaha and Sioux City if they are elected to join, if they apply and get accepted, whatever the case could be. But there we have it. Like I said, this is just a guess. I don't know. That could be 2026. It could be 2027. I honestly have no idea. But it was fun. It was a fun little experiment. It took me 2 weeks to build all these graphics and kind of figure out what I wanted to say and do some research and anything I could do on breaks at work to cut monotony and boredom down when I'm not doing statistics and previews and recaps and all of that stuff for week 6, week 7, week 8 and stuff in the indoor football league. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wanted to do something like this for months, honestly, even before the season started. I wanted to do something cool like this. I've just never really had the time, and it was just kind of a little slow build. Like I said, each time I could get 30 minutes at work to kind of work on this. Cool. It's not perfect. Never will be. A lot of stuff and details left out. Like I said, not perfect. Not an expert. Don't know anything. It's just one guy's fantasy. So that's where I'm at. Like like I said, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I don't know how long it's going to be when I go to edit it. I'm sure it'll probably be 30 minutes to an hour. But like I said, I appreciate you guys sticking it out. I don't know if YouTube's going to put in bookmarks of their own or, chapters or whatever, but don't spoil it, please. I want it to be cool. I want it to be awesome. But I know people out there are impatient, so it's fine too. I don't care. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's one man's fantasy and boredom, really. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this. I'll talk to you guys later. If you like this video, want to see more stuff of it, cool. I'll try and make some more stuff like this. But I gotta get ready for week 9, and I still have another recap to do. It's gonna be a big one. So, and week 9's not too pleasant either. So, taking off here, guys. Again, appreciate you guys. I love you. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. Until then, I will see you in the next video. See ya.